Good morning, everyone. Morning, Dr. Irhanida.
Yes, good morning.
It's 9:05 already. I think we should
Mm.
start. Welcome to everybody for this story shop. So I hope that you may get something useful for this morning session. So the floor is yours, Dr. Irhanida.
All right. Thank you very much, Mr. Hazim, and good morning, everyone here. Um, so today I'm going to share with you a workshop, okay, on mediating and moderating analysis with Hayes process macro. So I think before I start with the topic mediating and moderating variable, I think it is wise for me to have a very quick revision on regression analysis, okay, because mediating and moderating cannot be done without understanding regression analysis. So I'm going to just take a few minutes, okay, to refresh everyone about what is regression analysis, so that later on when I continue with the mediating and moderating analysis, we will get it better. Okay, we will understand that analysis better. So why I want to refresh, okay, have a quick refresh on regression analysis is because we cannot do moderation or mediating analysis without understanding regression analysis. So a quick introduction for those who do not familiar with regression analysis. So regression analysis is divided into linear regression and multiple linear regression. So this is the next step after we do correlation analysis. Okay, correlation analysis is very much similar to regression, where we are trying to find the relationship, the correlationship between variable, okay, and it is used when we want to predict, okay, correlation is used when we want to predict the value of a variable based on the value of another variable. So we want to find the relationship, thus we regress these two variable, okay. The variable we want to predict is
Dr.
called,
Irhanida,
yeah,
sorry, are you sharing the screen?
sorry, yes, I'm sharing the screen.
No, I didn't see your
Okay,
slides.
okay, wait.
Hmm.
Because I think it's not working here. Yeah. Um, is it okay now?
Yes, now okay.
I'm so sorry. I guess I start again. So I think I stop at linear regression. Okay. Um, so we do linear regression right after we do correlation. Okay, and we do correlation because we want to predict the value of a variable based on the value of another variable. Okay, and then the variable we want to predict is called the dependent variable, or sometimes, right, it is also called as outcome variable, but most of the time we call it dependent variable. And then the variable we're using to predict the other variable value is called the independent variable. So independent variable, okay, is regress to the dependent variable, and we are finding, okay, the R value of these two relationship. So for example, you could use linear regression to understand whether exam performance can be predicted based on revision time. Okay, and if you have two or more independent variable, then you are supposed you're supposed to use multiple regression. For example, okay, like this. Okay, this is the example of conceptual diagram for linear and multiple regression. So if in your research, you have this kind of model or conceptual diagram, okay, definitely you are going to run linear regression or multiple regression. So you run linear regression when you have one independent variable and one dependent variable. So here is your dependent variable. Okay, the school engagement is your dependent variable, while your independent variable is teacher sensitivity. So in this conceptual diagram, we are finding the relationship between teacher sensitivity towards school engagement. So we are finding whether the influence of teacher sensitivity, okay, is high or not towards school engagement. So if you only have one variable, one dependent and one independent variable, you are having linear regression. But what if you have more? Okay, when you have more than one independent variable, you are using multiple regression. Okay, for example, in this conceptual diagram, I have three independent variables, which are positive climate, teacher sensitivity, regard to adolescent perspective. Okay, and we are finding this relationship towards school engagement. So right after you run the multiple regression, okay, we can see which one of these factors is contributing the most towards school engagement. Okay. So these are the test procedure that you can use, okay, in SPSS. I believe most of you are very familiar, okay, because today we are actually talking about moderating and mediating variable. And then take a look at the procedure closely because it is quite similar to our moderating and mediating later. We go to regression. If we are using linear or even multiple, we go to linear. And then we key in our dependent and independent accordingly. So if you have one dependent and one independent, you only key in one lah, okay? But if you have more than one independent, you will key in here. Thus, it become multiple regression. So right after you enter everything, okay, the variable accordingly, click OK. And then you will get the output. Basically, the output will show us the R value, okay, R square value, the T value, and our beta value. Okay, like this. So this is the model summary that will show up after you click OK. As I mentioned, you will have the R value, R square, and adjusted R square. So in short, okay, we are looking into the R value here. The R value here, okay? So the R value here shows to us that the relationship is high because the score is 0.873. Any score above 7 is considered as strong, okay? And then the R, okay, also called as the degree of correlation. So when the score is above 7, we consider the relationship as high relationship, strong relationship. And here, the R square value, okay, indicates how much of the total variation in the dependent variable can be explained by percentage. So over here is 76.2% can be explained, which is large. Okay, and then the next table that going to be produced by SPSS is ANOVA. So we are looking into the sig value here. We can see that the sig value here is smaller than 0.05, meaning it is significant. It means that the data that we use, okay, to run this regression analysis fit the model. Okay. Okay. Yeah, this is the same thing as I mentioned. Okay, and when we want to see, just now, if you still remember, we have three independent variable that we regress towards one dependent variable. So now we want to see which factors contribute the most to the dependent variable. We are reading the beta value. Okay, so here we are referring to the standardized coefficient. Okay, here the value is 0.873. The T value here is 7.598 and it is significant. Okay. So over here in the sample that I have, I only have one variable. Okay, but if we have three variable, then we can see which one of them are contributing the highest, okay, towards the dependent variable. So this is a basic rule of thumbs that we can refer to when we have the result. Okay, for example, to see how well our model fits the data, we see uh, the seek value. Okay, we are looking into those that is more than 0.05 that how to say shows that it is a strong fit, while for the effect size, the beta value, okay, those that is between 0.0 to 0.20 is weak effect, okay, 0.21 to 5 modest effect, 5.1 to 1 moderate effect, okay, and bigger than 1 is strong effect. Okay, this is suggested by Cohen. Okay, and then in a nutshell, we use simple regression, linear regression, to test how change in the predictor variable predicts the level of change in the outcome variable, while for multiple regression is when you have two or more predictor variable predict the level of change in the outcome variable or dependent variable. Okay, now the lecture, the workshop that I actually want to share today. Okay. Now I believe you run mediating. You would like to run mediating or moderating variable because okay, you have this or you plan to have this in your research. Now, I will start with the objective of the workshop, which number one is to understand mediator and moderator variable. Number two, definitely to ensure that we can apply mediator and moderator analysis using Hayess process macro. And finally, to interpret and visualize results from moderators and mediators analysis. Okay, I have forgotten to introduce myself. My name is Dr. Dr. Irhanida from SHTCA Penang. I'm the senior lecturer and postgraduate program leader for our postgraduate program in Penang. Okay, so I'm so happy to share with you about mediating and moderating analysis with our colleagues and our postgraduate students in Penang and also in UG. All right, before we move further, maybe some of you is new to Hayess process macro. So this is the step where you can download the process macro. It is just simple as visiting this link. Okay, I have shared the slide with all of you. You can go to the, I think this is the third slide. Go to the third slide and just click this. You need to upload, you need to download the process macro. And once you download, you can unzip the folder. Okay. Once you unzip the folder, this is step 3. Go to your SPSS. Okay. Select the menu item to install the custom dialog. So you go to extension and then move your cursor to utilities and then install custom dialog compatibility mode, right? So it will be automatically downloaded into your current, okay, SPSS software. So after that, you just open and okay lah, it will be auto download for you. Okay, now that you already have your Hayess process macro, let us move on. So I divide my session into part A and part B because we have mediator and moderator variable. So we are going to run 2 analysis today, which is mediation and moderation analysis lah. So first of all, what is mediator? Okay, or what is mediator variable? So let's examine how the influence between two construct, or sometimes people call it construct, sometimes people call it factor. Okay, it depends. So construct or factor Okay, it's the same lah. So we want to see the influence between two construct may take indirect path through a third variable called a mediator. Maybe when I explain to you in this way, you can't really get it, but later on, I will show you the example of the conceptual diagram. Then only you can understand, okay, what is mediator. So in this situation, the third variable will intervene on the influence of the two construct, according to Hare 2009. So in many of my research, I guess many of other researchers, they like to refer to Hare because Hare justification is more easy to understand, and he's the one who write a lot about regression analysis. Okay. All right. In testing if mediation or the presence of a mediator in a model, you need to understand some of the terminology that is used, such as direct effect, indirect effect, and total effect. So before we move further into analyzing our mediator in our model, there are three main terminology, okay, or the words that we need to understand clearly, because these three terminologies are some sort of jargons that we are going to calculate later on, which is direct effect, indirect effect, and total effects. Okay, now, what is direct effect? Okay, take a look at the first on the top figure here. I have X. This X is pointing to Y, and in the middle here we have C. Okay, so C here in the relationship between X and Y is what we call total effect. But in order to understand this total effect, we need to refer to the figure on the bottom here, where we have X, we have Y, and we have M. And I believe some of you, especially for the postgraduate student or those who have taken their master, their PhD, right? You always find this kind of model when you read journal. Okay, and maybe some of you just noticed that, oh, actually I should run mediator or moderator analysis, and it is not just regression analysis, because, okay, here, the variable M here is referring to the mediator. Okay, the existence of this variable intervene, okay, the relationship between X and Y. So here, right, A here, okay, A here is the relationship between the independent variable towards the mediator. And then this mediator, okay, is having another relationship with this Y. But actually, the real relationship is between X, M, and Y. So, okay, now we go to what is direct effect, indirect effect, and total effect. Now, direct effect is simply a direct relationship between an independent variable and dependent variable in the present of the mediator. So, X to Y, but in the existence of M, like I mentioned earlier. Okay, so direct effect here is C here. So X to Y, but with mediator in the middle. This is what we call direct effect. Now we have indirect effect. Indirect effect is the relationship that flows from an independent variable to a mediator and then to a dependent variable. That is indirect effect. So direct effect, X to Y, but with M in the middle. M is mediator lah. Okay, indirect is X to M to Y. That is indirect effect. Okay, while total effect is the combined influence of the direct effect between two constructs and the indirect effect flowing through the mediator, the whole model here. Okay, so the one in bracket that I have here is actually the formula. Not the formula, the way we calculate. We want to get the effect size, right? So we can immediately get the effect size X to Y through the regression analysis. That's why I quickly revised about regression analysis earlier. While the direct effect is the one that we need to multiply. Okay, regression analysis, the regression result of X to M and then B to Y, right? Okay, we need to multiply the result. A multiply B. And then total effect, C, the total of everything, total effect of everything is equal to C, regression result of C plus A multiplied by B. That is total effect. So if you run this manually through SPSS, basically this is what you do. Okay, if you run it through SPSS, this is what you actually do lah. But now that we have Hayess process macro, it can help us to do it much faster. Okay, just now we understand already the three main terminology, the three main relationship that we can find in mediator analysis. Okay, now later on, after we already collect the data, we want to understand what forms of mediation that we have in our model. Okay, there are 4 forms of mediation that we could have in our model. Number 1 is what we call partial mediation. Partial mediation, you get it when you have a significant indirect effect from X to Y, but you also have a significant direct effect from X to Y. So indirect and direct is positive. Okay, indirect and direct is positive. You got partial mediation. What if, okay, you have significant indirect, but you don't have significant direct relationship from X to Y. Okay, so you have full mediation. Okay, I think it's very, if you are very familiar with regression analysis, you can immediately tell, okay, my mediator here or my intervened variable here is giving me full mediation because without the M, okay, the two relationship wouldn't be happen. Okay, for example here, okay, partial mediation, right? X to M is significant, M to Y is also significant, but the direct effect is also significant. Meaning, even though we don't have the mediator, the direct effect is still significant. Meaning, okay, in other way, we don't have to have that mediator variable. We just regress X to Y. We can already get the result. The result is already significant. So the existence of mediator that is not very, how to say, helpful. It's not significant. But take a look at full mediation here. The name is full, right? Meaning the mediator, the variable that we put under mediator here, okay, only is positive, okay, is positive directly or indirectly. And then, the direct effect here, okay, is not significant. Meaning, we must have the mediator to ensure the relationship between X and Y is significant. So, there is no straight relationship, direct relationship between X and Y. Okay, but the relationship only significant when we have the mediator. Okay. All right. Next, we have complementary mediation. Okay. Complementary happen when the indirect effect and the direct effect have a similar influence, either both positive. Okay. When the relationship is positive, then we have complementary mediation. Okay. And then competitive is when the indirect effect and the direct effect have a similar influence, okay, but the indirect effect is the direct effect is negative. Okay, the direct effect is negative. Remember, direct effect is the direct relationship between X and Y when we regress them. Okay, but the indirect is when we have the mediator in the middle. So when we have the indirect and the direct effect, positive, yes, positive, but the direct effect is negative, it's called competitive mediation. Okay, so right after you run the whole process, you need to see, okay, the sign of this relationship. If it's all, then it's partial. If the direct relationship is negative, it is full mediation. Okay. Okay, now how to test mediation. So I'm quoting Barron and Kenny, okay, because the research by Barron and Kenny, 1986, was one of the fundamental frameworks for how to test mediation. So they are the first one, okay, since very, very long time ago, who come up with the mediation test lah. Over the years, research has refined their initial work on testing mediation. And Barron and Kenny stated that there are 4 steps of testing mediation. So step 1, make sure that X has a significant influence on Y, or what we call C path, okay, the one that I had earlier in my lecture just now, and absence of M at this point, that is direct effect. So in order for us to do this, we use basic linear regression. So the one that I highlighted in blue is the one you can use if you are using SPSS manually. Okay, manually. Step 2, test that X has a significant influence on M, the mediator. So this is called path A, okay? And no Y included. This need to be significant for mediation to be present. Okay, still we use basic linear regression if we are using SPSS. Step 3, test that X has influence on M and that M has an influence on Y. A and B path, okay? And both paths need to be significant. This one, we need to use multiple regression if we are using SPSS. And finally, test the direct and indirect relationship simultaneously and determine if and what type of indirect effect is present with A, B, and C path are being evaluated. This is also using multiple regression. So all these 4 steps are basically the steps that we can use if we are using SPSS. Okay, without Hayes process macro lah. Okay, this is some extra notes about some criticism on Barron and Kenny approach. Okay, I'm not going to go through it today because we are going to use Hayes process macro. But let's say you can't follow using Hayes process macro, you still can use Barron and Kenny approach just by using SPSS. But there are some criticism, okay, that have been given to this approach, like there are suppressor effect that prevent the C path from being significant, but the indirect effect is still present. In nutshell, right, I'm trying to say that some criticism that we can see here actually telling us that the way Barron and Kenny run the mediation analysis is not yet complete or precise. Okay, that's why Hayes, okay, the guy who come up with the Hayes process macro is Hayes lah. That's why it's named as Hayes. So he come up with a more comprehensive method on how we can get a comprehensive result of mediation analysis. Okay, before we move on to Hayes process macro, now let us take a look into the example of mediation analysis. But please take a note that our mediation analysis workshop today is the simple mediation analysis. We have multiple mediation analysis, okay, with more than 3 mediators, okay, which we cannot actually use Hayes process macro. After you have so many mediating or moderating variable, right, you cannot use Hayes process macro anymore. You need to use more comprehensive software like PLS or MOS already. Okay, Hayes process macro, I think they can calculate up to 10 mediating variable, but not for moderating variable. So if you have more than that, you need to use other software. Okay, all right. This is the example of conceptual diagram, okay, of one mediating variable in a relationship. So this is the relationship between level of education towards spending power with the existence of income as the mediating variable. So M is always referring to mediator variable. Okay, X and Y. X is independent and Y is the dependent variable lah. Okay, my hypothesis that we want to solve here is income mediates the relationship between level of education and spending power. Okay, so we are trying to say that in order for us to spend more, income need to be more, and it's depend on the level of education. So income mediates the relationship between level of education and spending power. Okay. All right, now we are going to the step-to-step way, okay, to use Hayes process macro. Because I'm running this workshop online, right? I'm not able to see whether you have the process macro on your laptop or not lah. But don't worry, I already jot down step by step how you can go to process macro. So step 1, on your SPSS, okay, go to analysis, okay, then click regression, and then pick process. The one that I have here is version 4.0. I think this is the latest one in my laptop is version 4.1. Okay. So just simply click to process by Hayes. Okay, step 2, okay, is similar as how you run your regression analysis. It's just that on the option box later, you need to choose some analysis accordingly. So in step 2, you need to put in the required variable. So by referring to the model that I had earlier, okay, my Y variable, which is my dependent variable, is spending. So I put enter lah Y variable into the box here. X variable, which is our dependent variable, is level of education. So I put it inside X variable here. Mediator, M. Okay, you see here, my mediator here is income. So I key in income, or I move income variable into mediators column. Okay. Under Hayes process macro, there are few models. Okay, if you take a look into the bottom of the variable here, you will find model number. Okay, they have 1, they have 2, 3, 4. Okay, so for mediation analysis, the model number that Hayes process need to run is number 4. Okay, so please select 4. Confidence interval 95, let it be. Number of bootstrap sample 5,000, let it be. Okay. Then step 3, okay, you need to click option button and choose the option as shown in the figure. So I have here the sample of the figure, the one that you need to follow. So you need to select show total effect model because we want to see the total effect. Remember, one of the formula that we need to calculate is the total effect. So we need to have the total effect model. And then standardized effect, mediation only. Okay, because we are using mediation. So we have to have the standardized effect. And then press continue. Other than that, just leave it. Okay, continue. Okay, when you continue, right, the result will come up already. Okay, you can automatically get the result. So this is how your output will looks like. Okay, it will written there, run metric procedure. It's something like text. Okay, text. So you see here, you check whether the model that you pick is correct or not. Yes, we are selecting model 4. Our Y variable is spending. Our X is level of education, and M mediator is income. Okay, the sample size that I have here is not that much. Okay, I only have 100. So this is the sample size lah, 100. Okay, underneath the run metric procedure information that, okay, you will find the outcome variable or the model summary. Okay, remember, we need to calculate the total effect, direct and indirect. So we are looking into the result now. Okay, first, okay, the usual model summary result will come out where the R value, the R square, okay, and the P value is here. So this model summary is showing us whether the data fit the model or not. Okay, the data fit the model or not. So the R value here show the strength of the model. So here the result is 0.3171, which is not that strong, but is still significant because our P value here is lesser than 0.05. So we can say that the data still fit the model significantly. So boleh pakai lah, the data still boleh pakai. Okay, now we want to check the coefficient. Okay, the beta value of level of education towards income. Remember, in the model. So that's why if we have the model in front of us, we can check it immediately. I will run quickly. Sorry. This model. So just now, we are looking into X towards M. Okay, path A. So here, path A. So the coefficient level of education towards income is 0.2345. T value is 3.396 and P. So when we want to see the path A result, these are the three main things that we need to check. Coefficient, T value and P. Most importantly, we check the P. So P here must always, as usual lah, must be lesser than 0.05. This is significant, okay, because it's lesser than 0.05. Okay, and the coefficient here is quite weak, okay, 0.2347. This is path A. Okay, so we already have one result. Secondly, we have level of education towards spending, okay, and we have incomes towards spending. Same, we take a look at the model summary. This is significant. We can continue. We are looking into path B first. Okay, income towards spending. So here is significant, okay, because the P value is less than 0.05. T here, okay, T here, right, must be bigger. Sorry, I didn't mention earlier. The T value here must be bigger than 1.96. Okay. And then coefficient here is 0.4763. So income here is significant. Okay, but our path C, level of education towards spending, which is the direct relationship, right, is not significant. Okay. Oh, sorry. It's significant. It's still lesser than 0.05. It's still significant. Okay. But the coefficient value is quite weak with 0.1904. So all of the three paths, path A, path B, path C is significant. But it doesn't mean that it's going to have a full mediation effect. So later on, we are going to see the total effect model. So here is the total effect model. Okay. we have the level of edu towards spending coefficient 0.3021. Okay, and it's significant. Okay, and then we have level of education. Oh no, we are checking the level of education without the standardized coefficient. So read this first line only. Next. Okay. We are going to calculate the indirect, the direct effect, and the total effect to determine whether the mediator income just now is having a mediation effect or not. So first, indirect effect. The formula is multiply A and B. Okay, just now, we read the coefficient value, right? Okay, path A. Coefficient value of A is 0.2347 and path B is 0.4763. So we multiply these two. We got 0.11178. That is our indirect effect. Okay, remember X, M and Y. We are calculating this relationship. X to Y with mediator. Okay, now we are calculating direct effect. Okay, X to Y lah directly. Path C. So path C, we immediately got the result. Okay, 0.1904. Tetap. Yes, okay. And then to calculate the total effect of the whole model, we need to sum the indirect and direct effect. So indirect effect 0.1117 plus direct effect 0.1904 equal to 0.3021. So if we refer here, okay, this is direct effect, right? Sorry, this is the total effect result. So we can see here, the total effect result is similar if we calculate it manually. Like this. Okay. All right. Now, the next result that you can see from the output table or output page is the total direct and indirect effects of Y on X. So what I'm trying to tell you is that if you use Hayess process macro, everything is already presented to you after you click the button OK, after you analyze it. So here, total effect of X on Y, total effect, you got it here, 0.3021. You got it here. Direct effect of X to Y, you got it here. While indirect effect of X to Y, you got it here. So it's tally with the calculation that we done manually just now. Okay, so what I'm trying to tell you is that if you use Hayes process macro, all the result will be presented to you automatically. Okay, however, when you check the result on Hayes process macro, you must always check the P value here, the T value here. Okay. Same goes to here and here. Okay, after we got the result of direct, indirect, and total effect, we need to determine, okay, whether mediation exists and what types of mediation that exist in our model. So number one, the question that we need to ask is the indirect effect is significant. Okay, if yes, there is mediation. If no, there is no mediation. If the indirect effect is significant, meaning there is mediation, okay, you can accept your hypothesis because your hypothesis saying that there is mediation, right? So if there is, meaning there is mediation. If the indirect effect is not significant, meaning there is no mediation. Okay. Number two, is it full or partial mediation? Okay, we can check again, refer to the first note that I gave earlier. Partial mediation happen when total and direct effect are significant, positive. Okay, while full mediation happen when direct effect is not significant, Okay, total effect is not significant, but indirect effect is significant. That is full mediation, meaning like it or not, you must have that variable to become your mediator to ensure there is relationship between X and Y. Or in other words, the relationship of X and Y will not happen without that particular variable as mediator. That is full mediation. But partial, dia ada ke, dia tak ada ke, whether the mediator variable is there or not, the relationship of X and Y still happen. Okay? How about forms of mediation? Is it complementary or competitive mediation? It is complementary when after you multiply A, B and C, the result is positive without any sign of negative. Okay, it is complementary mediation. Okay, so that's why, like it or not, you must find the coefficient value of X to M, M to Y, X to Y. Because later on, when you want to determine the form of mediation, you need to multiply the coefficient value of all these paths. A multiply B, multiply C, positive. Okay, it is complementary. But if you got negative result after you multiply A, B, and C, it is competitive mediation. So in this model, the one that I showed to you earlier, there is mediation. The mediation is partial, and it is a complementary mediation. Okay. Next, how to report mediation analysis by using APA. So we have here H1, incomes mediate the relationship between level of education and spending power. So the study assessed the mediating role of income on the relationship between level of education and spending power. The result revealed a significant indirect effect of impact of level of education on spending power, where B equal to 0.1117 and T equal to 2.0477, supporting H1. Furthermore, the direct effect of level of education on spending power in the presence of mediator was also found significant, where B equal to 0.1904 and the p-value is lesser than 0.001. This is one tail. Hence, income partially mediated the relationship between level of education and spending power. Mediation analysis summary is presented in table 1 that I'm going to show to you after this. So this is how we report mediation analysis. Okay. This for the simple mediation analysis like this, we need to state the relationship. Level of edu to income to spending, and income is the mediating variable. How the value of total effect, direct effect, indirect effect. Okay, we need to quote the lower bound and upper bound. Okay, and then we have the T statistic, and we have the conclusion. Is it significant or not significant? So from this table, we can say that H1 is supported where the mediator is significant, and it is only partial mediation. So yes, okay. So after this, I am going to share with you how we run it through Hayess process macro. But before that, do you have any question to ask? I will open my SPSS. Mediation. I will try as you know, when we use SPSS, we need to keep clicking it, and it will always pop up with the new window. So what I'm trying to do now is to share my screen. Please let me know if you are able to see it. Leonie, can you see my screen?
Yes, Dr.
I
Ira.
can
Can
only
see?
no one can see. Okay. Right. Okay, now this is my data. Okay, in SPSS, the normal SPSS. But after you follow my steps, okay, of downloading Hayes process macro, you will have that Hayes process macro automatically lah. So now, okay, I'm going to click analyze regression. Okay, and click process by Hayes. Okay, all right, over here, I will select my variable. Okay, I believe most of you, right, when you have your model, X, Y, or M will definitely have a lot of item. Okay, it is not going to be one single variable only. Like for example, if I have level of education, my level of education may be in the form of nominal data, secondary school, tertiary, secondary, primary education, like that. Okay, we can have our X variable as nominal data. Okay, Y variable, for example, income. Okay, income also can comes in form of nominal data. Okay, 2,000 to 3,000 a month, 3,001 to 4,000 a month. It can come with nominal data. But mainly, most of the time, our mediator variable is a factor itself. Okay, like in this case, spending. Yeah, sorry, is it spending? Level E, doing, yeah, spending. In my case, my spending is also nominal data. Okay, we still can use it. We still can use it, right? So here, I go to my X, which is level of edu. My Y is spending, and my my Y is what? Yeah, income. Oh, no. Correct. Forgot already. Spending is my mediator. Wait, I forgot the model. Oh no, my mediator is income. My mediator is income. And then my Y is spending. Okay, here automatically is number 1. But Hayes process macro model number 1 is moderator. So we need to choose 4. 4 is for mediator. Okay, option, total effect, standardized effect. The rest, let it be. Okay, continue. Okay. Okay, you choose accordingly. Then on the bottom of SPSS here, you will see running matrix. So the result basically in the matrix form, in the text form. Okay, actually, whatever you see here is similar like what I have in my slides. So you will have the summary of your model. Okay, which is your X, which is your Y, M, and sample size. And this is your outcome variable. This is the model summary of the relationship between level of education and income. Okay, so don't read this standardized coefficient, just read this line. Okay, just read this line. So this is the result that you got. Okay. Okay, and then this is the result that you got between income to spending, level of edu to spending. Okay, check the p-value, t-value, and the coefficient. And this is the total effect model. Okay, total effect model result is here, 0.3021. This is your total effect. And this is the total direct and indirect effect of X on Y. Okay, so this is total effect, direct effect, and indirect effect. So you need to take these numbers because later on you need to determine whether your model is partial or full, competitive, or complement. Okay, so for a simple mediation analysis, that is how you run it. Okay, all right. Do we have any question? Anything that you would like to know further? Maybe it's regarding how we present the data. I did not explain one thing here. I purposely don't want to explain one thing here because I want to see whether you are following or not. Any question? No? Do you find it easy rather than calculating manually from SPSS? Okay lah. I ask my own student here. Leonie, how do you, okay, here, right? Are you able to see my slide here?
Yes.
What do you see?
Reporting mediation analysis.
Okay, yes. All right. If you can get total effect from the result, you can get direct effect, indirect effect, but where do you find the lower bound and the upper bound? Where do you get this?
It's provided in the model summary, right?
In the model summary.
Of total effect model.
Okay, let us go to total effect model. Is it similar? Our lower bound is 0.0021 and 0.2458. Let us take a look into the model. No, not same. It's not here. Where is it? Click here. Kelly, where do you think you can find this? Okay, let us browse quickly our total effect model, total direct and indirect effect. Where do you find this? Where? Anyone? Leonie?
From the slides, I can tell it's from the total direct and indirect effects on X and Y.
Yes. Okay. We refer to the indirect effect line there. Okay, that's where we got it, because if we are referring to the table, here got total effect, direct effect, indirect effect. But for confidence interval and the T statistic, we are referring to the indirect effect. Okay. All right. I think I have gone through quite fast actually, because it is only 10 a.m. here. And then the next section is going to be the moderator variable. Is it okay, Mr. Hazim? Because actually, Hayes process macro is one of the simple the software that makes things simple. Okay, when we run mediator or moderator variable, they process everything immediately for us. If it's okay, then I will continue to part B. Okay.
Okay. Dr. Irhanida,
Yes.
Jasmine here. I just want to check
Ah,
with you
yes.
because
Okay.
I totally have no idea on this process macro. Okay,
Oh,
just want to
really?
check.
Oh.
Just want to check with you. If right, because the example just now you show is actually with only one IV. Okay, so if what happens if we have multiple IV, can this macro work?
Yes, it can works. For mediation, okay, it can goes up until 10 maximum.
But just now, when you demonstrate using the SPSS, right? How many IV you actually can drag there? Or it depends on the model that you choose. Is it? Is it because the model that you choose is model number 4, so you only can drag one IV there?
No, we still can. The model number 4 can also use for multiple.
IV.
Yes, multiple IV. But there are few there are other box that you need to tick for multiple more mediation analysis.
Oh, okay. Do you
Yes.
mind to demo?
Oh, that one. Okay, wait, yeah.
Okay.
It's still under model number 4. Okay. But
can you show your screen? Can you show your screen?
Yes,
Okay.
wait, yeah. Can you see my screen, Dr. Jasmine? It is still same regression.
Yes.
Okay, here, right, I only have one mediator. But let's say I have okay, because this one is the one that I prepare for this workshop. The rest I didn't test yet, but I just simply put it lah. Okay, let's say now we have one only income. Let's say I have, what else? Motivation. MOP here is motivation and environment. But this motivation and environment is not the real data for this model. Okay, but never mind lah, we just try. Okay. After you click option, okay, generate and everything the same. Okay. Everything are basically the same, even though you are having more than one independent variable. Click OK, then OK. is the metric is still running. Wait, yeah. Okay, here. So you see here, we have X, Y, and 3 mediating variable: income, motivation, and environment. Okay. So you will have the similar output like what you have for one mediator. However, Dr. Jasmine, remember when we have the direct, indirect, and the total effect, you have to get this result accordingly to the direction of your model. Okay, for example, let me show you another example that I have. Okay, I will close this a while. I will show you another example that I have. Or can you share with me your model, Dr. Jasmine?
I don't have any model. I just wonder
Oh,
how it actually works.
okay. Yeah, I show you another model that I had. I hope you are able to see my screen.
Yes, I can see a screen.
Okay, so here, if we have only one mediator, meaning we only have environment, experience, to revisit, intention, to kongsi. Okay, but in this model, I have two mediating variable where we have also the relationship between environment, education, and revisit. So over here, I have two mediating. Okay. So the result, we come up something like this. Okay, this is the coefficient analysis summary. And then this is the mediation analysis because I have two mediator. So environment to experience to revisit, environment through education to revisit. Okay, so we just repeat the process for 2 times because we have two mediator. Same also, we take the total effect, direct effect, indirect effect, and we decide whether the condition of this mediator is significant or not significant. Yeah, this is the only result that I have. That is the example, the real example that I have using the real data. But in short, what is very important is we try to prove that whether the existence of the mediator is meaningful or not meaningful. Yes, that is what is the most important lah, because sometimes we do not need the mediator to be in the relationship. Okay, but there are times where we need to prove that maybe age or gender is important in the relationship between intention to revisit or intention to repurchase, something like that. We try to prove that this particular variable is important between the two relationship of two variable. Okay, on top of that, some of my students ask me, Miss, this is mediator or moderator? Okay, maybe that question should be posed later on lah after we finish both. Okay, from my readings, many of my readings, I figure out that we can only okay, determine whether that variable is mediating or moderating based on our previous reading. I even have that in my notes later. Okay, it is not going to be somebody or any other people, other researchers determine for you. Okay, it is based on our own reading, our own findings in the previous literature. So maybe in your current study, gender can be mediator. Okay, but in another study, gender is moderator. It can be like that. Okay, it can be like that. So it not necessary gender must be mediator only or must be moderator only. It is depends on the research, on the variable, on the conceptual diagram, okay, and the data that you have collected. Yes, that's what I can say. You have any other question, Dr. Jasmine?
Dr. Irhanida, sorry, just because I understand that macro can actually cater for multiple mediator. My question is actually, can process macro cater for multiple IV or not? Because just now the box that you show, right? When you actually want to run
IV.
the
Multiple
IV is
IV,
actually.
no, cannot.
Oh, okay. That is my concern. I understand that process macro can cater for multiple mediator.
Oh, yes. Sorry.
My question is
Oh,
IV.
no.
Oh, so
Oh,
IV cannot. So we
my
need to
apology,
use
my
other.
apology.
So we actually
Yes,
need to
correct.
use either Smart POS or Amos, this sort of
Yes,
software, right?
correct.
Okay, thank you.
My apology. I didn't catch you. I thought you want me to run the mediator. Sorry. Yes. Hayess can only run one IV and one DV, but multiple mediator.
Okay, thank you.
More than that, they cannot run it already. You must use PLS. Better than that is Amos lah.
Okay, thank you.
Yes. Oh, so sorry. Okay, any other question? If no, then I will proceed to the next one. Duration. Okay, now I'm moving to part B, which is the moderation analysis. Just now we are talking about mediating analysis. This is moderation analysis. So now, what is moderator? Okay, so what is moderator variable? Moderator variable play a distinct role in research by modifying the strength, direction, or nature of the relationship between the independent and dependent variable. Okay, this one according to Hare 2021. Moderating variable is a third factor that interacts with the existing relationship, either strengthening, weakening, or completely altering it. So the effect of a moderating variable is contingent on the specific conditions or value within that variable. So a researcher is making specific hypotheses about how certain third variables will influence the relationship between two other variables, and they are doing so before collecting and analyzing the data based on their prior knowledge or and theoretical framework. So as I mentioned earlier, if you have a model and you ask me whether this should be moderator or mediator, I cannot tell you because it is based on your knowledge and it is based on your theoretical framework. So sometimes, for example, age or gender, it can be moderator, it can be mediator, it depends. But remember, the difference between moderator and mediator is that mediator mediates the relationship between the two variables. But okay, moderating is a factor or a variable that helps the relationship of these two variable, right? Okay, it's either help it or weakening it, or is completely altering it. Like for example, if we have education level towards spending, okay, when you have moderator, it could be spending influencing the education level. It could be like that. The result can tell us whether it's completely altering it. Okay, that is moderator. Okay. Example, prior research has shown that the relationship between customer satisfaction and customer loyalty differ in terms of customer income or age. Okay, or income has a negative effect on the satisfaction to loyalty relationship. The higher the income, the weaker the relationship between satisfaction and loyalty. This means the satisfaction to loyalty relationship is not the same for all customers, but differ depending on income level. Okay. Let us take a look into the example that I have here. So just now, when we have mediating analysis, our arrow is different. Our arrow is pointing to each other. But for moderation analysis, the arrow from the moderator variable is just pointing to the relationship between X and Y. That is moderator. Okay, so we have X here, work experience. W is referring to moderator variable, gender, and Y, salary. So again, we have A, B, and C. Okay. So our hypothesis here, gender moderates the relationship between work experience and salary. Okay, how to run moderation analysis by using Hayess process macro. Similar as before, we go to analysis, regression, and process. And then we have to put in the required variable. Okay, like from our model, our Y is salary, dependent variable. Our X is working experience. And our moderator, W, is income. So it is the same window, but moderator is below here, on the bottom here. Okay, moderator is on the bottom here. And remember, we have to change the model number to 1 because 1 is referring to moderation analysis. Okay, step 3, you select option button and choose the option as shown in the figure, like generate code. Okay, and change conditioning, mean center to only continuous variable, and moderation and conditioning -1 SD mean +1 SD. Okay, and finally you have to check Johnson-Neyman output. Okay, then continue. Okay, you will get the output already. However, to interpret the result of moderating analysis, right, it's not as simple as mediation analysis earlier. Okay, because later on you have to generate a histogram, a plot, okay, to see whether the result really supporting or not. So the first part of the output is the basic description model, along with different variable where your Y, your X, okay, and what is your W lah, together with your model summary, similar like before. Okay, next you will find the coefficient, okay, impact of work experience, salary, and the interaction effect to assess if there is moderation or not. Okay, and then in this example, since the interaction effect is not significant, gender does not moderate the relationship between work experience and salary. Okay, you can see here, there is a test. We call this test of unconditional interaction. You can see X multiply Y is not significant as well, as you can see here. Okay, from the outcome variable, this is your result, okay, where you need to refer to your model, okay. Here, you are referring to this row to read your result. So here, p-value is too big. It's not significant, okay. Coefficient is not high as well. And here, okay, we can see the test of higher order unconditional interaction. Okay, we see the p-value here. The p-value is so much big. Okay, should be lesser than 0.5, but this is already 0.67, meaning there is no moderation effect. And here, gender work experience is also not significant. It means that the moderation effect of gender towards work experience and salary is not meaningful, not significant. Okay. So Johnson-Neymar interval tells you the range of value of the moderator in which the slope of the predictor is significant versus non-significant at a specific alpha level. So in simple terms, Johnson-Neymar identify region in the range of the moderator variable where the effect of the focal predictor is our I think working experience, okay, is statistically significant and not significant. So next part, okay, of the result that you need to do is about data visualization. So you will see the following code. This one, okay. When you run the analysis, right? Okay, right after you get all the data, you will see this result. Okay, so what we need to do, we need to copy this data. Later I will show you. Okay, and then click to our SPSS file, new, syntax, because this is syntax. And then you paste and you need to run it. After you run, okay, a graph like this, okay, will become your main output. So here we can see that the plot is scattered around. Okay, it means that they are not in a linear line. It means that it does not give a meaningful relationship lah. Okay, does not become moderator between the relationship of working experience and I think salary. Okay, if it's meaningful, it will run in just one line. Okay, right after this, I will try to run it and let you see. Now, reporting moderation analysis. We just need to report back the result. The study assessed the moderating role of gender on the relationship between work experience and salary. So the result revealed a non-significant moderating impact, because this is not significant, of gender on the relationship between work experience and salary, where the coefficient value, or B, is negative blah 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 T B, thus hypothesis H1 is rejected. Okay. Okay. Before that, I will run the data. The step is similar like mediating, but when you put in the variable, it's a different place. So go to regression, go to process, and again, put your X and Y accordingly. My Y is work experience. my X is salah. Work experience X, Y salary, moderator down here. Okay, gender. Right. Yes. Okay. Model number 1, option. Then standardized effect. Johnson name output, continue. Okay. So for moderator, we do not run for direct, indirect, total. Is the way reporting it is different. Okay, this is similar like the one that I had in the slide where we read the model summary, and then for the outcome variable, we are reading the last row here. Interaction 1. Because remember, we are not looking into the regression of one variable to another variable because there is no regression between X to W. Okay. Instead, okay, we are just looking into whether, okay, gender just now as our W is moderating the relationship. So we call this interaction. So that's why in Hayess process macro, you will find this interaction 1. So here the interaction is not significant. Okay, it's not significant. So it shows us that there is no moderation between gender, work experience and salary, even though the data fit the model. And then we also need to look for the test of higher order unconditional interaction here. It shows that X multiply W, okay, is this one, and the P value is also not significant, meaning it's totally don't have moderation effect. Let's say the result is positive, okay, after you copy the data, right, that I mentioned just now, the plot will show you in a linear path. But since this is not significant, there is nothing to show for us because it is not linear lah, it's scattered. Okay. All right. So I am going to share with you a dummy data over here. I'm not sure whether you have your SPSS with you, but you can download according to the one that I had in my slides. You try to download it, okay, and then you can run this analysis. I will share with everyone a dummy data for your exercise, and I wish you can tell me whether the result is significant or not significant. Okay, before I share with you, maybe we can have a short break, 5-minute breaks. And after that, you can try to run this by yourself. Mr. Hazim, am I not allowed to share my file here in the chat box? I didn't find any attachment icon here. Mr. Hazim, are you there? Mr. Hazim. Not around. I am trying to share the data so that you can try to run the mediator and the moderator analysis. Earlier we have. No, we don't have. Or let me share through email then. Because without the data, you guys cannot run it, right? Okay, I have sent it to Mr. Hazim. Ish. Wait. Let us see if he is able to help me. Okay, Mr. Hazim will help me. Anyway, since we have a little bit more time, I think or I believe most of you have run regression analysis before. Or actually, you come to this workshop without understanding regression first, so that I can run regression, so that we have a clear picture of how moderator and mediating works. Okay, that's okay. I didn't get any feedback. Okay, so I'm not sure whether you are able to do the exercise. Okay, I will just run the sample data set here. Maybe those who would like to try, okay, please refer to this hypothesis and try to run using the data. So by using the data, you should be able um, to test, okay, whether uh, to test, okay, whether motivation mediates the relationship between perception and participation, where we are using mediation analysis. And hypothesis 2, okay, we are using moderation analysis. Using the data, try to analyze whether gender moderates the relationship between perception and participation. So remember, when we are running mediation, okay, there are 3 things that we need to look at, which is the indirect effect, direct effect, and total effect, where you can get all these results from the output itself, okay. But then when you want to determine the forms of mediation, whether it's full mediation or partial mediation, or whether it's complementary or competitive, okay, you need to check the coefficient value. Okay, maybe we can do this in 10 minutes time. So I noticed from my own trial that you cannot run it for the first time because some of the variable is very lengthy, more than 8 character. So I assume none of you are trying the exercise, right? Yeah, if the variable name is too long, you can just edit it and shorten it with a short form. So Leonie, you done with it. What is the result for H1? What is the result for H1? You finding the hypothesis is accepted or rejected? So the result that I have here, okay, total effect is 0.4284. How about you? You can write down the result here.
The effect 0.4284. Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Mm.
So is this full mediation or partial mediation?
If full,
Is full mediation.
yeah.
Okay. Right. How about H2? Dr. Jasmine cannot try no SPSS install in Office Notebook. Okay. So let us try for moderator. Analyze regression. So our hypothesis is gender, perception and participation. Gender. Model, don't forget to change model number 1. It's not significant, the data. 5. It's not significant also. Anyone run the second hypothesis? So from the result based on the given data, we can see that the data does not really fit the model that well. The p-value for interaction 1 is also too big. Okay. And the test of highest order unconditional interaction is also not significant. So gender does not moderate the relationship between perception and participation as well. Dr. Jasmine, for your class in UG, does the postgraduate student is required to run mediator and moderator analysis for RM?
For RM, yeah, they need, but then because I actually advise them to use Smart POS.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
In Penang, because understanding SPSS is also an issue for many of them. Because in our business school, most of our students are from the industrial, from the, how to say, in the factory industry. So even SPSS is something that they really need to work hard on it. So we just use a simple model. We encourage them to use simple model, and we encourage them to use Hayess process macro lah.
Oh, okay.
Was it?
Because over here, SPSS normally for me to actually guide them on data preparation.
Mm.
Mm.
Meaning in KL requirement is higher than.
Because I think because the case, that's why just now I raised out the concern is that, right? Because most of the students, when they submit the model to us, they tend to have multiple IV. Yeah,
I
so
see.
so that's why the process macro, right? The one that which I totally have no idea on, but that's why after just now I reconfirm with you, if they have multiple IV, then process macro cannot cater for this sort of model. So whereby in this case, I don't think they can proceed with using the SPSS process macro. That's why I think I will just go back to using the smart PLS.
Yes, yes. If you can see here, you can immediately tell whether they can accept one or more
Yeah.
X variable.
Yeah,
It
that's
is
why.
only allowed for one column only.
Yeah, but mediator, they are allowed more than one.
Mediator, yeah, up to
Yeah.
10. Covariate also up to 10, but the dependent and independent only one. Only one. That's the disadvantages of Hayes process macro. They emphasize on the variable, the mediator and the moderator variable only.
Okay.
All right. I think Leonie is trying to do this. Are you getting the same result with me, or you find other result?
Yeah, I just did the p-value is 0.6673.
So gender does not moderate the relationship between perception and participation.
Yeah.
And additional note, sometimes the sample size matters, because in this case, our sample size is only 100, it's too little. Okay, it's considered as little because for a higher degree analysis like mediator, moderator, especially when they are using MMOS, PLS, they require higher number of sample because they are very sensitive. Okay, MMOS, for example, at least you have 500 sample to run. If you go lesser than that, okay, you are not getting a meaningful result. Because small sample, right, is very the what we call the standard deviation tend to be close to each other, so it does not give us a very meaningful result. So sample size also another factor why in analysis like this, okay, it does not provide us a very meaningful result. Okay, so as a conclusion, okay, I thought that I think many of the colleagues are not able to download SPSS or Hayes process macro because maybe it's Office notebook, right? So you don't have SPSS installed for you. In additional notes, okay, the mediation and moderation analysis that I showed to you today, that I shared with you today, is just the simple mediation and moderation analysis. Okay, there are many other kinds of moderation and mediation, like moderation with continuous moderator, okay, multiple mediation analysis with more than one mediation variable. Okay, what we call it multiple mediation analysis. We have serial mediation analysis that is goes to higher level. Okay, where we have one predictor, two mediator and one outcome. But as Dr. Jasmine mentioned earlier, all these come with only one independent variable and one dependent variable. Okay, Hayes process macro, that is the limitation, one X and one Y, but they could be many moderator or mediator with different forms, like continuous or in group, okay, like that. But at least we have learned today that mediating and moderating can be done through Hayes process macro. Any other larger model than that, where we have more than one IV or more than one DV, we need to use higher level software like PLS and AMOS. Okay, Mr. Hazim, it seems that we can't have a further Q&A session because I guess most of the colleagues do not have SPSS. Okay. That's when they do not run the exercise, right? They do not have question lah. Maybe in the future when they start running and they think that it is more convenient to use Hayes process macro, especially when they only emphasize on the mediator or moderator variable, maybe they can reach me to get some opinion or suggestion lah. I guess that's all for today. Okay, for the simple mediation and moderation analysis. So thank you very much for your time. Yes, you can contact me if you have anything to ask. That's all for today. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Irhanida, for today's session. So if no question, that's all for today and have a great weekend.